Welcome back to segment 3 of Citizens Forum. And we have with us today my good buddy Rick Habgood, and I've known Rick for many years, and Rick's always been very concerned about issues around democracy, and Rick's done a lot of great work with an organization called Fair Vote Canada. And why we have Rick here today is because we got to start this conversation, which is going to go on for the next year or more, and that is what sort of electoral system we want here in Canada. So the first question, Rick, to you is, we get the first past the post right now. We've had it for 100 years. Why do you think we should be changing to another electoral system, and do you think it will be fairer for the public with better representation at the other end?
Well, I think what our goal is, and I think that what every democracy's goal should be, is fair representation. That means that you're represented, I'm represented, everyone is represented. In our democracy, with first past the post, a little less than 50% of the voting public is represented. So consequently, the reason why we want to change is this. When you go into the voting booth under our system, and you check, let's just say you check Liberal, but the NDP winds up winning the election. What happens to the Liberal vote?
It's just gone.
Where's it go?
Yeah, there's no representation for that person.
And what happens to that person who voted Liberal?
Yeah.
Is he represented?
Yeah.
He goes back to the hockey game. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And so what we're saying is that that's unfair. That's totally and completely unfair. That person that voted Liberal, that person that voted NDP, Green, Communist, or whatever the case may be, should be represented in Ottawa. That's
very interesting, and I think it really, we just had a brief conversation before the show, and where you said, if you look at how electoral systems work and how they affect society in which they're in, and I could immediately see from what you just said there, that exactly, the guy's been disenfranchised, the guy or the gal's been disenfranchised, they have no representation, they say, oh, what the hell, it's just the way it's going to go, and they just lose interest. But if they had a skin in the game, and they did have some representation, then they would stay more engaged, perhaps.
Right. And that's what we want. That's what Fair Vote Canada wants. That's what thousands and thousands and thousands of people right across Canada want.
Yeah.
You know, this system, the first past the post system, was devised back in 1270 AD. 1270 AD. Edward I, who is one of Great Britain's leading monarchs, he's hugely popular.
Yeah.
And after reading a bit about the guy, I can understand why. Really tall, really big, very smart, really commanding. You did what you were told, or you had your head cut off. You know, like he was that kind of guy, right? So he famously said, he was the first one. He said, I control my council, which is Parliament way back then. I control my council, and I control my country. He didn't say, I control the country. I control my country. But he realized that in order to control his country, he had to first control the council or Parliament. So isn't that the game we play? So what they devised was way back then, a two-party system. It was just the lords and the commoners, right? That was it. So you had, and in a two-party system, okay, whoever gets the most vote wins the race, right?
Right.
And that's what it was. It was a horse race. However many goals get scored wins the game.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what first past the post is. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
So it's a blood sport. Okay?
Yeah.
It's like you knock them down, you mock them, you swear at them, you show what a bunch of lousy people they are with no morals whatsoever, and you just keep on hammering and hammering and hammering at it, get down and dirty, and that's what first past the post is all about. Because when you, well, all you got to do is go into Parliament or watch and that's what they do. They scream at each other. If you go into a Parliament that has got a PR Parliament, it's subdued.
Yeah.
There's none of this punching. There's none of there's no name calling. You go to like, for example, if you want to see how a PR system works, go into the German website, the German government website, and you can go right to their Bundestag, which is their parliament,
Yeah.
and watch it. It's boring.
Oh yeah, wonderfully
boring.
boring. Yeah.
You know, here Merkel, Chancellor Merkel was up reading the financial reports for Germany, and it's boring.
Yeah.
And you know, but everybody's sitting there very attentively listening to her, and when it's all over, she just quietly sits down.
Yeah.
And that's what a PR democracy is all about, coalition.
Yeah.
And you have to work in coalition.
Yeah.
First past the post, it's all a matter of seats. So what happens, as we were just saying, in a riding, the Liberals win, everybody else's votes gets trashed into the waste
Okay,
paper
so how
bin.
does this going to work? Like, give me a simple proportional representation system that, you know, that we can understand. How does that work just in the numbers?
It's really simple. Proportional representation can be extremely complicated. And there's different types of proportional representation systems, okay? So it will depend, but basically, proportional representation goes like this. If you get 40% of the votes, okay? If you get 40% of the votes, you get 40% of the seats.
And this is you meaning if your political party gets 40% of the votes?
That's right, the party.
Yeah.
Depends on the system.
Yeah.
But there's different systems of proportional representation. There's a list there's a list system where you don't elect parties, you elect people. And that gets a little complicated, and it's not as efficient.
Is that what's called a preferential ballot, or is that something else again?
No. Preferential ballot is a whole totally different animal.
Yeah.
That's an AV. This is the one that Trudeau likes.
Yeah.
And if he goes with an AV system, then we will have a Liberal government in perpetuity, forever, forever. Because if people vote Conservative, they're not going to vote Green or NDP because they're not thinking on that level.
Yeah.
So their second choice is going to be Liberal.
Yeah.
If you vote Green, and you might vote NDP,
right,
but you probably will vote Liberal.
And they've already figured that all
So
out.
as the numbers sort of get proportioned out, the Liberals will win the election.
Always the fallback,
always,
guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they'll always win. And of course, the Liberals love that.
Now the thing is about that is if the political parties had more, let's say, more checks and balances and controls in their processes for choosing candidates and for policy and everything, so that if those parties had more of a democratic arrangement, perhaps this system would work quite well. You know,
which one are you talking
about? The one you're discussing by using the political parties.
The AV?
No, like the system of proportionality. If you have 40% of these,
you know what? That's in the. When I was in Berlin, I met a political scientist, and him and I had about a 3-hour talk. Fascinating. It was like I went through a whole year of political science in the 3 hours. You know, there was so much. I'm still deciphering it. And he said to me, he said, you know, like in Germany, and I think Germany has like a really, really excellent model. I think their model is
Yeah.
the best. Number one, their model, you will never get a Stephen Harper,
Yeah.
ever. You will never get a Justin Trudeau, ever.
Yeah.
You will never get any party getting that much power.
With a false majority, basically, is
That's
what
what,
they
it
have.
is. It's a
Yeah.
total false majority.
Yeah.
So in the German model, you have to work in coalitions. There's just no other way.
Yeah.
So there's always this counterbalance that happens within Germany, okay?
Yeah.
Always. And so what they do, in the German model, what they do is they say right from high school, they teach the students their electoral system.
Yeah.
And they say, this is what they say, we want you to get involved politically because this is very important.
Yeah.
You have to, in order to be a German citizen, a good German citizen,
It's
get
understood.
involved politically.
Yeah.
And so eventually what happens is you find a party that you like. And you know, throughout your life, you know, things change, right?
Yeah.
But you find a party and you join that party. And when you join the party, people, what they do is they throw their name into a hat who want to be candidates, right?
Yeah.
Well, you learn who the people are and what they stand for, and then as a party member, you vote for them.
Yeah.
The person with the highest votes, right, is the first one that gets elected to the Bundestag.
Yeah.
And such and so forth all the way down the line.
Oh. Okay.
That's how that works.
So you're not electing an individual. You're just the
You're electing a
voter.
party.
The general population just votes for a party.
That's the federal.
Yeah.
Now the other one is the regional.
Yeah.
So this is a German way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
If you get voted into a region, like a riding,
Yeah.
Murray Rankin, for example, okay, or Elizabeth May,
Yeah.
for example, okay. So Elizabeth May gets voted into her riding, which she does. Now, under the German model, would be her world,
Yeah.
is that riding.
Yeah.
Okay? She wouldn't have anything to do with Newfoundland.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have anything to do with Manitoba.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have anything to do with Fort McMurray, anything
Yeah.
like that. Her whole career, her whole term
Focus,
is
yeah.
basically taking care of her riding.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay? The Germans feel that is the best way because
Yeah.
so they elect a person for the riding,
Yeah.
and that's it. The second one, there's two checks. There's one for the riding and one for the federal, which is the
Yeah.
party, right?
Yeah.
So the party, the second check, which is for the party, they're the people who take care of everything federally.
Right.
So they take care of health care, they take care of the military, they take care of education,
Yeah.
anything that is German-wide, right?
Right.
The Elizabeth May, for example, wouldn't really have that much to do with education, for example,
Right.
unless there's a problem within the riding.
Yeah.
And if there's a problem within the riding, then she will bring that issue up in the Bundestag. One last thing, the Green Party of Canada is presenting a electoral reform town hall meeting, all right? And that's between 7:30 and 9 o'clock on June the 16th, which is this Thursday, all right? And it's going to be at the Victoria Regional Library, Nellie McClung Branch, which is on Mackenzie and Cedar Hill Road.
Right.
And David Murner will be giving a presentation on proportional representation and how it works and how important it is. And also, Fair Vote Canada is going to be tabling at Victoria's Car Free Day on Douglas.
Okay.
And that's going to be between 11 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So anybody that wants a little bit more information or a lot of information about electoral reform can either go to the town hall meeting or they can catch us at the Car Free Day on this Sunday, the 19th of June.
That's fantastic. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Jeff. Appreciate that.